right, so complementary colors are colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. So for example, we have yellow and purple, we have green and red, blue and orange. So when we use these colors and when they're placed next to each other in paintings, they look more brighter and more vibrant. So let's take a second and fill in our worksheet here with some of the complementary colors. So we can start with orange and we can add blue right next to it. When you put them together, you kind of see how they do make each other pop. Next, let's put together yellow. Fill in the yellow on your worksheet here. And then purple. Again, take a look when you add these colors on your worksheet, how much they pop when they are next to each other. Finally, let's add red and green. So think of these colors and the strong contrast that they have when they are next to each other. So here's an example of complementary colors from an artist named Kay Kurt, and the painting is called Ever Eat Anything That Made You Feel Like a Saturday Night on a Tuesday Afternoon. So in this artwork, one of the most striking things that pops out is the red against the green in the background. Remember, red and green are complementary colors, so they're directly opposite of each other on the color wheel. When artists use these colors side by side, they create a strong contrast that makes the colors appear more intense. We can clearly see that with the red here. It looks extra bold, extra vibrant because it's surrounded by green to make it pop. It grabs our attention right away. This is a great example of how artists can use color theory, not just to make things look pretty, but they can create an energy and draw our eye to where they want in the painting. Let's take a look at a really famous example and how he used complementary colors. So this is The Scream by Edward Munch. He used complementary colors in this case to convey a strong feeling of fear or anxiety. So the complementary colors that he used here is the orange in the sky and the blue in the water. So orange and blue are opposite on the color wheel, and when he used them together, they made each other feel really intense. This contrast helps create a sense of tension and chaos in the painting. The sky almost looks like it's on fire, and then there's a calm blue. It gives us this feeling of chaos and high contrast that makes us feel a little bit uneasy. So here again, this is another example of how artists can use color to convey what they want us, the viewer, to feel. So next up, we have split complementary colors. So that's one base with two neighbors. So for example, yellow, the complementary of that color is purple, but we're going to use its neighbors. So we're going to use blue violet and red violet. So those are the split complementary of yellow. If we take red, our complementary color is green, but we need its neighbors. So we're going to use yellow green and blue green. So let's fill some of these in on our worksheet here. First, we're going to start with red. So think about what the complementary color of red is. You can look up if you need to. We can use our color wheel as well. So we know it's green. So we're going to use green here. But remember, we're using the neighbors. So we're going to mix our colors here. So we have green. And we are going to add a little bit of yellow to make yellow green. Try and blend it in really nicely here. And then we're going to take our blue and we're going to make blue green. So those are our two split complementary colors with red. All right, let's use another example. So we have yellow and purple. So let's start filling in some yellow on our worksheet here. And then we have violet or purple. So let's fill in here because we're going to create the blends. Because remember, split complementary, we are using the neighbors of the complementary color. So we are going to add a little bit of red to our violet to make some red violet. Create a nice blend here. And then we're going to take some blue and add it to our violet as well to create blue violet. And those are our split complementary colors. All right, let's see how split complementary colors are used in a painting. This is a painting by Monet, and we see that blue and orange are complementary colors in this painting here. Well, Monet doesn't use just straight orange on those houses. If we see the house in front is red orange and the house in the back has some yellow in it, being our yellow orange. So him using these colors we still see that contrast that complementary colors can show us, but there's a little bit more harmony to them. They are a little bit different, but they still work really well together, and they really pop out against all the blue that we see in the sky and in the water. All right, so let's take a look at analogous colors. So these are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So we have yellow and yellow-green, or yellow-orange. We have red and red-orange, or red-violet. We can also look at green and blue-green or yellow-green. If we take blue, that would be blue-violet and blue-green. So let's take a second and fill in some of these examples on our worksheet. So yellow, and we're going to add a little bit of yellow so we can blend here. Fill it in. So when artists use analogous colors, they can, since they're next to each other on the color wheel, they feel really calm and peaceful because they blend really well together. They look really nice, and they don't create a strong contrast, which kind of helps give that feeling of peace and calm. We have red, red-orange, and red-violet. Okay, so let's take a look at this painting by Monet called The Water Lily Pond. So Monet used analogous colors in this painting to create like a sense of calm and peaceful feeling, because these colors are, again, analogous colors are right next to each other on the color wheel. So everything really works well together, and they really like blend, that nothing stands out too much. The colors flow in and out of one another, giving us a feeling when we look at this of calm and peace, right? Nothing stands out in contrast too much. Nothing really like pops and grabs our attention. It flows really well together. So we can see on the color wheel, right, blue and green are next to each other, and we see a lot of different shades of blue and green in this painting. We see a lot of the green in all of the plants. We see some blue in the bridge and in the water. And he uses a lot of different shades of those two colors to create this harmony that we're seeing in this painting. So let's take a look at triadic colors. So triadic colors are 3 colors evenly spread out on the color wheel. So let's take our color wheel here. And we can see that yellow, red, and blue form a triangle. So those are triadic colors. They form a triangle on our color wheel. Our secondary colors do as well. They also create a triangle. We can do this with our tertiary colors. So we see yellow-green. Across from that, we see blue-violet and red-orange. Those create a triangle as well. We also could use yellow-orange, blue-green, and red-violet. Those create another triangle. Okay, so let's recap what colors we're putting on our worksheet here for our triadic colors. So we have yellow, red, and blue. Those are our primary colors. Our secondary colors also are triadic. So that is orange, green, and purple or violet. Then we have our tertiary colors, which are yellow, green, blue, violet, and red, orange. And then our last set that we made was orange, yellow, red, violet, and blue, green. So those are all our triadic colors. All right, let's take a look at triadic colors in a painting. This painting is called The Milkmaid, and Vermeer uses this triadic color scheme, right, to bring a strong but balanced feeling composition. Okay, so take a look. Can you figure out what the triadic colors are that he used? Right, so if you look at the painting and the woman in the painting, you can see that her top is yellow, her apron is blue, and her skirt is red. So he used the primary colors in a triadic color scheme here. So the triadic colors in this painting give it a really like vibrant and harmonious look, right? She really stands out from kind of the dull walls and the background, but it still feels really balanced and looks really visually pleasing, right? but interesting at the same time, but it's not overwhelming or too intense. That's what the triadic colors can help us convey in our paintings. It brings us a sense of interest without being overwhelming because they still look really good together.